Hello, it is Facebook Live Wednesday, and I chose a very sort of controversial topic. It is parenting styles, and sometimes we aren't aware of the parenting style that we use. Sometimes we inherit parenting styles because we parent the way that we were parented, right? So, those of us who might use a harsher parenting style, we just think, I just need to raise kids who will be responsible, who will be respectful, who will do what they're told. So I'm going to do this parenting style. So let me just start off by describing the four parenting styles. The first one is authoritarian. So you are the authority, you are the boss. You say things like, because I said so, right? And you demand that your rules get followed or else. And you believe that kids should not question what the rules are because what you say goes. If they live under your roof, then they should follow whatever you say without question. And then there's authoritative, which sounds a lot like authoritarian, but it's very different. When you're authoritative, you actually encourage your kids to express their feelings. You want to collaboratively work together. You do have guidelines, you do have rules, but sometimes when they ask, why do I have to do that? You actually explain why, because of your safety. And you give an explanation so that they don't feel like you are like a dictator. Hey, Des. We're just talking about parenting styles. So authoritarian, first one. Good morning, authoritative. And I want to describe authoritative because authoritative parenting actually raises kids who grow up respecting the rules and who grow up responsible, learn to listen, versus authoritarian. Some of those kids end up rebelling because they feel like they are being controlled at home. They're never asked their opinion. They are just told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And so they might be respectful at home. They might get good grades, but they do it reluctantly and they feel like they live in prison, that you're their prison guard and they must do as you say or else they're in big trouble. So they live very scared lives. They live feeling like they have zero control and they can't wait to move out of the house. They can't wait to be on their own. But authoritative parenting leads to kids who want to emotionally connect with you. They feel heard. They feel understood. Even though you might lose your temper every now and then, like we all do, they know that you love them because you show them and you love them and you accept them and you honor their feelings, which is hard to do because if you don't agree, with what they say, what they do, you don't like lecture, which I tend to do. It's hard not to choose to lecture when you are, right, disappointed, when you get pissed off at whatever they do, and you go into that authoritarian hat. But apparently, authoritative parenting leads to kids who are socially responsible and they're respectful and they just know how to be like functional adults. Hey, Carrick, thanks for watching. I'm just discussing the four parenting styles. So we did authoritarian, we did authoritative. Permissive parents, that's a style where, yes, Des said, continuously learning. Permissive style, those are the parents who have no guidelines. Their kid is pretty much the boss. They don't want to create waves. And they're the ones who say, you know what, you're the boss. Those are the parents who give in to the screaming child at the store who really want that lollipop. And they're like, you know what, okay, just get it. It's just this one time. Because they don't want to deal with the tantrums. They are very lenient. They have lower expectations because they are on sometimes survival mode. They don't want to deal with listening to the complaint, so they just give in. And they believe that being a friend is more probably easier than being the parent. And then the last parenting style is being uninvolved. we've seen those parents uninvolved, neglectful, little time, uninterested, and sometimes they're going through their own challenges. Sometimes if you are overwhelmed to the point where some parents are alcoholics, some parents are choosing to live an unhealthy lifestyle, and they just don't even have the energy, they don't even have the drive, and sometimes just it takes a lot, right? Parenting takes a lot. So the uninvolved parents just chooses not to be involved, and it can look like parenting neglect. And those are the kids, though, that sometimes end up in foster homes, or sometimes become runaways, or sometimes just make poor decisions. So my main topic today is not to judge your parenting style. We all want to be the best parents. We all want to raise kids who are responsible, who are respectful, and who are happy, right? We hate to see our kids cry. So what I wanted to talk about is, what do we do when we see our kids struggling? And I think sometimes we just want our child to feel better, if they fail an exam, if they didn't make it on the team, whatever sport they're trying out for, or they lost a competition, whether it be an academic or a sport, competition, or they fail a big exam, or they didn't get into the college of their choice, what do we often do? We often say, you know what? Oh, you're having a bad day. Let's go get some ice cream. Oh, you know what? We are so stressed today. And we try to do something to make them feel better. But research has showed that what we should do is just talk about their feelings, and not just the parent talking. Ask your child, how are they feeling? And don't say stuff like, oh, don't worry about it, or, it's going to be okay. Kind of minimizing it, because then what's happening is, I just saw a little video where someone who did research, it's like hundreds of thousands of kids, and what's happening because of the way parents are raising kids. And they talked to someone from Stanford who said, so who do you accept? And Citibank, which is a company that's really hard to get in. And they said, you know what? Some people look really good on paper. They have the scholarships, they have the grades, they have the degree, but they don't have like communication skills. They don't know how to be independent. All they know is how to get good grades. They know how to look good on paper, but that's all they know. So the companies who are, really hard to get into, they want someone who knows how to hold a conversation. They're wanting someone who doesn't get disappointed and doesn't give up when times are hard, when the boss, sometimes might yell at them, when they're doing like really, really menial jobs and they feel like, I'm better than this, and they leave. So many kids are quitting their jobs. Well, now people are losing their jobs, but in the past, college graduates would refuse to start from the bottom, right? Because they got the college degree, they want to start at the management level. Some parents, believe it or not, are going on interviews. I've had parents call and contact the high school teachers saying, you know what is missing? What can my kid do? Because I noticed that, things are not going well. And I want to make sure as a parent that my kid does what they need to do to pass your class. And so what do we do as a parent? Do we save them? Do we make them do what they're supposed to do? I was that parent when Chelsea was 15, failing, and I said, you know what? I'm a tutor. Papa taught me perseverance, so we are going to sit here and we're going to finish these assignments. And they were all due the next day. And realistically, there was no way. But we spent 5 hours, and she was crying, and I was doing my, you know what, we need to do this because you chose to be irresponsible and you chose not to do any of this work. And of course she said, but you told me that if I was fine with failing, that you would be fine with failing. And I just said, but you know what? I think right now, I know that you can do this. So that repeated, whether it was for math, whether it was for biology, and I finally realized that nothing, that I was not in control of her, that I could not make her, I could do it for a little while, but what's going to happen when your child is on their own? Who's going to be the one making them do what they're supposed to do? Who's going to be there at work when they're told, you know what, you need to do these 15 tasks, and they might be too hard for them, they might not be motivated, so they just don't do it. Or maybe they do 3 of them, or they just don't do what they're supposed to do. And that's when I got to thinking, because I'm doing what I said not to do. Chelsea is a college freshman, and I found myself, asking her, so when's your deadline? Are you keeping a schedule? What do you have to do? And then, then I say, I shouldn't be doing this because I'm teaching parents not to. And she goes, yeah, I know, Mom, but you just care. But I said, but I need to trust that you're going to do it. I need to trust that you are going to make your schedule. And I need to trust, but when I hear her go, oh no, I don't know if I can finish it, or oh no, I'm going to fail, I immediately put that hat on that makes me feel worried, that makes me feel like, uh-oh, I ought to sweep in there and make sure that she does what she needs to do. And after watching these videos, hey Raina, thanks for watching. I think after reading a lot and after, doing this parenting mission, I'm realizing that in order for us to build resilient children, we need to allow them to fail. We need to allow them not to do the work, get the bad grade, and, but I understand when you have like a 6th grader, you have someone in middle school, or just starting out in high school, it is tough because you know what your child's potential is, and you know that they might need a little shove, right? Or just a little push. So my suggestion is to give the guidance and then step away. And it's the hardest thing ever because they might fall, they might not do their assignment, but better for them to learn while it's just academics, right? I know academics is a huge part of their world and your world. But during this distance learning phase, when parents feel like, oh my God, I need to make sure that they are logged on, I need to make sure that they're participating in class, and on top of that, make sure that they are turning in assignments. The semester, or rather quarter, ends this Friday. So this week is a really stressful week for parents mostly. Some of the kids are like, you know what, I really don't care. And then the parents are like, no, you're going to care because we are going to get through this together. And then your child probably looks at you and goes, does it really matter? And you're like, yes, it matters because it's your grade, and I struggle with that. Till today, I struggle. As a tutor, I have 13 sessions a week right now, and I can feel the stress of the parents, and I can see the kids go, you know what, if I don't do this, my mom's going to be super pissed off. Then I have the other child who says, you know what, I don't really care. If I fail, I failed. It's not a really important subject. Or you know what, it's only the first quarter. I'll make it up during, second, third, fourth quarter. I'll just skate by. It'll be okay, Miss Karen. Don't worry about it. And then I become their parent. No, we can do this. So as a tutor, as a parent, as an auntie, if you have a child in your life and you want to be a positive influence, I'm learning that there are ways to do it without stressing. And you can be like their cheerleader without being their like parole officer. You don't have to be the principal in your child's life. You don't have to make sure that they do it, because otherwise we become that, hey, aloha Alexis from Texas. We don't want to become a helicopter parent, right? But oftentimes I think we just automatically do that. Out of what? I asked myself why, and it's because of lack of trust. Lack of trust that our kids will do what they're supposed to do, and lack of fear that if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then who knows what's going to happen. Are they going to be a responsible adult? Will they be able to get a job? Will they be able to be responsible and do what they're supposed to do? Destin said, yep, I was your typical helicopter parent. Hey, Rachel. Yes, it's a very interesting journey because I've been watching these TED Talks, and some of these parents are saying that parenting advice is really hard to give because, number one, every child is different. So I have two daughters, right? What I say to Sabrina will not work with Chelsea. And I thought in the beginning, wait a minute, don't I just do the same thing? Why am I failing with Chelsea? Because she was just the stronger willed child. She was just like not the people pleasing person. She just wanted to maybe rebel. I asked her yesterday, so what is my parenting style? What is dad's parenting style? And she said, before, I think you were more of an authoritarian, right? But then you transferred or transformed into authoritative. And then now you are kind of like a mix, but you are not authoritarian. I'm sorry. Yeah, you are not, because you don't want to be like a dictator. You will do what I say, because that will work when they're so young. And then sometimes I've noticed when they're late teens, that's when they'll say, screw you, I'm 18, I'm out of here, and you can't tell me what to do. They won't visit you, they won't keep in touch, and you've severed that bond. And that's when it affects your life, because then when you have grandkids, I'm in this group, since I have adult kids, right, that I'm in this group where some of them say, my adult kids don't bring my grandkids around. They won't even FaceTime. During this quarantine or this pandemic, they just want to call. They just want to FaceTime. They just want to see, like, right, virtual. And I don't even get that. And I feel very ripped off because I was a good parent. And it made me think, like, wow, Oh, thanks, Des. She just wrote, that's awesome. It does make me cry sometimes, because then as a parent, it's very stressful to know that what we say can break the emotional connection, or it can mend and make the emotional connection like closer. You have the power as a parent to have a positive impact without having to be in control, which is very hard to fathom, right? Because as a parent, we want to make sure, like right now, I know that there's a deadline that Chelsea probably has to do, and it probably has to be at 11:55 p.m. So as I'm recording this, I told myself, today, I won't ask her what's due today, even though I might. But, it's like making a conscious effort, guys, to just be there without like hovering and without making sure, right? Because when I'm tutoring these kids, you can see the mom kind of sneak and say, are you paying attention? Wait, are you writing down what Miss Karen said? You know what? Pay attention. Why are you not prepared? Get your book, get your pencil, because this is what happens, right? Oh, wait a minute, I need an eraser. And in the background, you hear the parents say, you don't have an eraser? Or this is a good one. Oh, Miss Karen, my laptop's about to die. I have 3%. And I have to say very calmly, it's really important to have a fully charged, or just, oh, it's okay. I'll just get my charger. Wait, and then you can see them carrying their laptop, and you can hear the parent go, why is your laptop not charged? And then the kid rolls her eyes. It's gonna be fine, Mom. I have 3%, and Miss Karen's just she'll be okay. I'll just plug it in. Yes, Rachel, my coach, says it takes effort and also being aware of how parents are talking. Yes, because what we say, and it's not the words that we say. Sometimes it's the tone that we say or our look. Because my girls say, uh-oh, Mom's giving you that look. I didn't even know that I had a look. Like my students will go, oh, I know it's wrong. Now say I didn't say anything. Oh, no, your look said that it was wrong. I'm like, what? I don't give you any look. No. Or I'll go, I guess I'll go like, are you sure you want to do that? Or is that your final answer? And then with my girls, I guess I will sigh, or I will be like, because we're not supposed to judge. And apparently, even if you give a look, right, your kids will know when you're disappointed without saying you're disappointed, right? Conversation goes like this. Mom, I forgot to turn in my assignment. Your immediate response is, what? Did you know the deadline? Did you procrastinate? Why didn't you do it? And then you get, I don't know. And then buttons are pushed and you feel like, holy crap, I'm a failure as a parent. So I'm here to tell you, we are not failures just because, yes, that's something we can all relate. We are not failures because of the choices our kids make. Really listen to that. We are not failures based on our child's actions. If your child fails a class, it isn't due because of poor parenting skills. If your child sasses back and is disrespectful, I used to say, what if a police officer stops you and you're disrespectful and you're talking to them the way that you're talking to me? And Chelsea would be like, oh, I wouldn't do that to a police officer. And like, but you're doing it to me? Yeah. And you think, oh my gosh, she's going to get arrested. She's going to, lose a job. She's going to get sent to the principal's office. But you know what? It never happened outside of the home. But still, you think, how dare they talk sassy to me? And then I remember a therapist telling me, your child is going through the natural teenage phase where they're asserting themselves and you want them to feel empowered. And they're doing it because they feel safe in their own little bubble with you. The kids are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to just be killed. They're the kids that are operating out of fear. So they will. Maybe they'll rebel later, but they will abide because they feel pressured of possible punishment. Punishment can be a motivator, but it's not the way to raise your kids. Because your kids, when they're on their own, I've had parents tell me they were raised very authoritarian approach, and when they were on their own, they became wild. They became, they said, and that's probably why, I was a 19-year-old parent, or that's why I just became this there are no rules. I am going to live and make whatever decision I want. So authoritative parenting guides them, explains why rules, right, are the way they are. You're not doing that. It's because I said so. Stop asking why. It is what it is. But you're explaining, well, your curfew is this time because I care about your safety. I worry about you not being online because, it just scares me that you might not turn in your assignments. And you know what? I need to learn to trust you. But sometimes mom is just scared. I'm scared because I think that I'm going to be a bad parent if you get a bad grade. And I need to be a good parent because I think if I'm a good parent, you're going to be a good child, which means you're going to have a better future. And it all boils down to me and my parenting technique or skills. That is so much pressure. So I just learned that your parenting style, right, and just the way you parent, it can impact your child's life, but it doesn't have to define whether your child succeeds or not. My dad grew up in a very violent household. His dad was very physically and emotionally and mentally just abusive. My dad never laid a hand on me. My dad was, he never went to college, but he helped me when I was stuck. He tried to troubleshoot without the internet. He tried to work things out, tried to problem solve. And I learned a lot just by watching him problem solve, watching him never give up, and teaching me that, life is hard. I remember when I had my first heartbreak, it wasn't comforting words. He looked at me and he said, this is going to happen to you again and again and again. And I was mortified. I thought, what? My heart's going to be broken again and again and again. I just wanted to share, Rachel, I guess it's instinctive to take their responsibility. Yes, it's instinctive to take our child's responsibility onto ourselves. So just being aware of it, right? Rachel Smith is saying, just being aware of it, we can let go of the guilt, because when you let go of the guilt, you're offering your child a gift. And the gift is to build their own resilience, because you are preparing their lives for when you are not around. And that's my latest broken record. Chelsea will be like, I know you're preparing me for you're not here anymore, and you want me to be resilient, to be responsible, to be respectful. So I think I'm saying that too much, but you get it, right? The main thing is Number one, release the guilt. You are not a bad parent no matter what your child ends up doing. If your child cheats, it does not mean that you're a bad parent. If your child doesn't do their work and gets, God forbid, an F, you are not a bad parent. I saw my dad's report card a few months ago. He got all Fs except an A in shop and an A in art. And he just, that was like driven in my mind that academics, top priority. Social life will always be there, but academics. My first Mother's Day card, this will be the most important student in your life. I was so terrified, so terrified. And so my parents were helicopter grandparents. They would call, are you sure that you, put socks on? It's really cold. Are you making sure that you have enough blankets on her? And then I took Chelsea to the grocery store when she was a few weeks old. No, it was Sabrina. And my mom goes, what? You took her shopping and she's only 3 weeks old? And I said, yeah, I had to get groceries. Well, next time bring her over. You can't you can't take her out because you might drop her or she might get sick. And I thought, but didn't you take me out when I was little? And she said, yeah, but I didn't have a choice. Interesting. So I felt like my mom didn't trust me to be a good parent. And now I realize, no, she was just worried about her granddaughters, right? My mom would scrub their shoes. If you said something like, I crave a Reese's peanut butter cup, when we went there, I would have a Reese's peanut butter cup. If I said, you know what? Oh my gosh, Chelsea is suffering in her history class. My dad would be like, what is she working on? And then he would Google it, he would email it, and I would tell him, Daddy, you have to stop. I wanted to be an independent learner. And you know what he said? You are neglecting her as a tutor and as a parent because Chelsea needs you to tutor her. It turned into a huge argument. And I said, no, my job is not to tutor her. My job is to raise her to be an independent learner who can trust that she can solve it herself. And you know what he said? Well, what if she fails? And I said, it doesn't look like you have faith in her. And he was silent. And I think, and I'm being very vulnerable with this, but I think it's because my dad was traumatized when I tried to take my life. And I know he was inferring that if we do not he thought that the greatest mistake he made was not teaching me to lose, not teaching me to fail. Because when I had a really, really hard time, I just wanted to check out of life, right? So I told him, you know what? I think that we are teaching Chelsea to, that it's okay to fail. And she might not fail. I thought that she was going to fail. And she did fail, right? I mean, she did get an F, a couple of Fs on her report card. I was mortified as an educator that I was a failure as a tutor and I was a failure as a mom. But she graduated, not that it mattered, but she graduated with honors, not straight A's, but cum laude. And I just thought, when it happened, she started doing her work after I let go. She started doing her work when I chose my mental health. Because I said, I can't be responsible for her. And her therapist told me, I saw her therapist, the same, therapist that she saw on my own. And she said, Karen, sometimes as a parent, you do not see the fruits of your labor until you're in heaven. You do not know. Because I would say stuff like, well, what if she's 30 and she, fill in the blank. And she would say, Karen, she's like 12. So another thing, my last parting advice to you is when your child misbehaves or does something you don't approve of, don't see that as an indication of how they're going to be in the future. Because if you look at all the naughty things that you did, and a lot of parents are like, oh my gosh, I was so naughty. I did far worse things. You turned out okay. You're responsible, you pay your taxes, you're employed. And if you're not employed, it's not because you're a crappy worker. Right? You're not employed because of this pandemic. You're not employed because of other factors that had nothing to do with competence. Terry Lynn, it's such a fine line that parents walk when they're doing things for their children. People may say it's enabling, but some parents say it's helping. I'm going through this right now. Oh, yeah. And I do that. I'm walking that fine line. My mission is to help parents, and then I do what I sometimes say not to do. But when you're walking, Terry Lynn, I tutored her sons, Nicholas, right, who's now an adult, and now you're doing it with your little one. But when you're on that, just picture a tightrope. And you want to make sure that your child doesn't fall. But you have to know that if they fall, they can create their own safety net. They will not fall to their death. They will not fall and, really like end their entire future if you do not do what you feel they should do. This is what happens a lot of times, right? Oh my gosh, I have to run to the school to drop off their jacket because they didn't bring their jacket. Well, guess what? They get to be cold. I scolded another parent. You know what? Oh my God, I had to run to school because he forgot his water bottle again for the third day. Then guess what? He'll be thirsty during baseball practice, but he won't die. I mean, I did the same thing. And so Chelsea, till today, she'll text me, guess what? My lunches fell to the ground. I just put a sad emoji. Oh my gosh, Mom, I forgot to take my water. And I'm thinking, she's at times, she could always buy water, but, thanks. Terry said that I was fantastic with her son. Yeah, Nicholas with special needs, and he is an amazing, amazing man, and you are an amazing mom, and I think we all as caring moms sometimes enable our children out of love, but we need to stop. Otherwise, everyone's complaining about how the millennials are entitled. Guess what? We created a lot of it. We created a lot of this, like, what? I think an example was, we have no control over it, but trophies are given to everybody because they don't want the people who don't deserve the trophies to get hurt. Or you might say, oh, you had a really bad day, instead of talking about it and telling them, don't run away from feeling scared. Don't run away from feeling afraid. Help them embrace their fear. Help them embrace their anxiety. So now I just say, what are you scared of? And you know what? Them sharing is so therapeutic. Their talking is what's going to build the resiliency. So the next time because I do the lecture thing, right? I do the life lesson thing. Just ask questions. What happened today? Oh my gosh. Chelsea be like, this guy just yelled at me because I couldn't open the liquor cabinet and I had 10 keys. And I said, oh my gosh. So what happened? Well, I finally found the key, but then, I dropped it and oh my gosh. So what are you going to do the next time? Or, they need to vent. Mom, you know what happened today? And sometimes it's just so tiny, right? Someone talked about how they thought that the virus wasn't important. Didn't even exist. And she called me when I was out. I was running errands and she called me and she goes, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that. I was like, okay. Wow, that must have been crazy. She goes, yeah, it was. And then I realized they just want to share. Like when your child calls to share, that's an opportunity to bond without a lecture, without anything but the gift of listening. So that's my Facebook Live. Don't get caught up in which parenting style you are, but be conscious of how you are doing this. You know what? I know what's best for you. Just do it without question because I don't have time for that. That kind of thing will, I get the end of it where my student goes, you know what? I just got to do it. Why? I don't know. I just got to do it or it's just going to piss off my mom and I'm going to lose my phone. So I'm just going to do it. Well, do you know why? Well, I guess, I don't know. They think that I should do my work and so I become the pseudo parent and I try to listen. And sometimes that is part of the tutoring. I'm realizing that when they feel heard and understood, they're more apt to do the assignment. So the authoritarian parents produce kids sometimes with lower grades, higher anxiety. The people who are doing the higher grades is because they know that they are in deep, deep trouble if they don't do the high grades, right? If they don't do it. Authoritative parents, the kids want to. So those are the kids who are resilient because they were taught to own and that it's okay. It's okay to fail, right? It's okay. It's okay. And it feels really crappy, but it's okay. Authoritarian parents are like, you failed? Oh my God, give me that phone. You are not focusing. You are not doing what you're supposed to do. I guess I failed as a parent because you are not doing what I told you to do. So I'm going to end with that. decide which parenting style you want to exhibit, and the next time, just give your child the gift of just listening, the gift of unconditional love, and the gift of non-judgment. Don't judge the F. My dad was awarded in the military. My dad was awarded at Pearl Harbor, and he, barely, I think, graduated from high school. He did not have parents who guided him. They both had great, I think they went through to the third grade. They did not know how to write. And I look at my dad, and he still valued education. He still became someone that I respected, and he taught me so much more than education would ever do. So I'm getting emotional because I really miss him, and I'm realizing, you know what? He could have hit me. He could have spanked me. My mom spanked me, but she always said, I'm doing it because I don't want you to be naughty. And that was it. I didn't really understand why. But teach your kids by showing them unconditional love, because you want to be the grandparent whose grandkids do visit you. You want to be the adult parent whose children come to you, right? Because you don't want your children to grow up and leave and dread the calls. This is what your child might do, right? You have your phone, make believe this is your phone. Oh no, it's my mother. I'm going to just pretend that I missed her call. I'm going to just pretend that I was too busy to answer. And then they text you and text you and text you. Or you text your child and you don't hear from them. Because, you know what? You've severed that connection. So, thank you for sharing. Be conscious. Yes. Do you organize for 12-year-olds? Do you teach organizing? Oh, yes. I think I teach 6-year-olds how to organize. If you don't teach organizing, your kids will be paddling and they will not know how to keep a schedule, how to write down, how to prioritize. I think organizing is more important than academics, because if you don't organize and you don't know how to prioritize, guess what? Deadlines will be missed. Papers will end up in the backpack. Well, now they're not in the backpack, but they might be spread over your desk, which might fall onto the floor, which might end up in a trash can. And you'll hear a lot of, oh my gosh, mom, mom, did you see my blah, blah, blah? And you think, oh my gosh, just organize, right? Oh, Terry Lynn, I'm going to call you. Yes, call me. Some people don't believe in virtual tutoring. I am having so much success with virtual tutoring because unlike distance learning, where there's 30 kids, it's just me and your child. And I make sure they are not lying down. I make sure that they are giving me eye contact, and I make sure that they show me their work. Do they have their planner out? Are they writing down their assignments? I check what they write down. I check how it's written, and I check what their organizational style is, because sometimes it's just non-existent, or they write it down and they never look at it. I have kids who tell me, oh, I just trash the planner because I don't use it. I don't need it. How are you gonna know the deadlines? I don't know. Yeah, I guess I should. And I print out a calendar, and they don't use it. They need to know how to use it, and they need to know the value of using it. And it can be done virtually, if anything. Do 30 minutes with me just with organizational skills or study skills. Some of these kids need to know material, but they're not taught how to learn it. Especially with distance learning, I'm seeing a lot of teachers just give these videos, give these lessons, and these kids have to watch the videos, and they don't understand how to do it. So some of them make office hours with their teachers, and these teachers are great. But some kids don't want to schedule office hours because it's just more time for them to do academics. So call me, email me, and just most of all, be conscious of how you parent, what you say, and yeah. If you want to see other parenting videos, visit my YouTube channel, subscribe. It is called Letting Go with Aloha, because you want to let go with aloha. Don't let go with guilt. Don't let go begrudgingly. Let go with faith. and let go, knowing that letting go is the gift you're giving your child. I love you too, Terry. I'm seeing the light at the, yeah, it is a long tunnel. And you know what I'm realizing? It doesn't end. I thought when they're 18, I've interviewed grandmas, and guess what, guys? Apparently it doesn't end, because as a grandparent, it's a whole new set of worries. So maybe I should do grandparenting mission. Actually, I'm not a grandparent yet. So my goal is to just help parents, and then hopefully we will transition to really good grandparents. So we will have grandkids to visit us, and we will not sever the relationship with our adult kids. But those of you who have kids between, like, I don't know, toddler through 18, very crucial time, because if you're a dictator, you might raise someone successful, but they won't want to be around you because you're just not fun. So thank you for watching. Oh my gosh, that was a long Facebook Live. Sorry, but you know, I get carried away. That's my fault. But thanks for watching, guys. Bye.